Hello, welcome to another Dominion 6 Mod Nation showcase. Today we are taking a look at MA Ygg-Chall, Dark Elven Dungeons. This nation is based on the dungeon faction from Heroes of Might and Magic 5, 6 and 7. And I have to reiterate that I haven't even played Might and Magic Hero 6 and Might and Magic Hero 7. Yeah, the naming pattern got changed and it's dumb. But I used a lot of material from the wiki and there is a lot of stuff I have to cram up in this nation. So the starting site gives us 2 death gems, 2 glamour gems and 1 nature gem per turn. This is a cave nation. In the caves you have the 2 basic recruits. Deep Troglodyte has a poison-tipped spear and a shield. That's a size 3 creatures with 13 hit points. Some natural protection, higher magic resistance than usual, because they are said to be minor spirits of the earth, so they are also magic beings. They have higher strength than normal humans, but their skills are subpar. They do not need to eat, and they are blind, obviously. They are also immune to petrification. They have the stone being tag, but it doesn't have an icon yet. Or maybe it will never have one. The Ctonian is an improved deep troglodyte that doesn't have a shield, instead uses the claws that have 2 attacks each. They are stone beings with more hit points, high natural protection, slightly higher strength, slash pierce resistance, and all the rest of the tags. They also cost some resources. Then we have the other recruits. First we have the Chakram Dancer. They are the dark elf women who have actually have some armor. And their main thing is the Shadow Steel Chakram. All Shadow Steel armor is magic armor and all Shadow Steel weapons are magic weapons. So this is just a short sword and a Chakram. Well, that's your only ranged unit, so deal with it. The Shadow Slayer is the basic infantry of the Dark Elves. As you can see, they are dual wielders with high skills, 14 and 14 defense, but barely any armor and no shields. And they are stealthy, very stealthy, ambidextrous and have dark vision, obviously. The basic stats of the Dark Elves: they have higher precision than normal humans, higher combat speed, higher magic resistance, higher morale, and they have dark vision and they can live up to 400 years old. The Blood Fury. They are the female warriors that dual wield short sword and have berserker. They have no armor, so they really have to somehow survive the hit to actually trigger the berserk. And they're also faster than normal, combat speed 16. Then we have the cavalry. The Dark Raider rides a lizard, has a lance, a normal lance that's not a magic lance, and a Shadow Steel short sword, and some armor, of course. They are expensive, like all cavalry in Dominion 6. And this is the Riding Lizard that has some natural protection but no barding. And the Brisk Raider costs the same, but has different armor, has a helmet, but costs more resources, has a trident instead of a lance and a sword. And even when dismounted, he uses a trident. And the Riding Lizard has a barding. That's a lot of protection. Then we have the capital only sacreds. The Cave Hydra is almost exactly the same as the Hydra hatchling of Pythium. Even the sprite only has very minor edits. So that's 3 attacks, 2 lesser heads and 1 great head. Regeneration, blunt resistant, pierce resistant, susceptible to fire, poison resistant, cold-blooded, swimming, swamp survival, recuperation, animal, dark vision, and disciplined, unsurroundable too. They, like normal hydras, they lose heads gradually. And they do not have the poison cloud tag, so they are less expensive. And the deep hydra that can only be recruited 1 per turn. That's a huge size 9 creature with high magic resistance, high strength, and lots of attacks. 5 attacks at its peak. Also is sacred, regeneration, fear, blunt pierce resistance, susceptible to fire, poison resistant, cold blood, swamp survival, recuperation, animal, dark vision, and disciplined, unsurroundable. And it also loses heads gradually. This hydra has higher protection than the normal Pythium hydra. That's all the recruitable troops. Let's take a look at the commanders. The tracker is a scout that is very stealthy, has a poison dagger and a pistol crossbow. Because why not? It's a dark elf after all. The dark blade is an assassin with a shadow steel sword. Very edgy. The Blood Maiden is your basic commander, who is basically a Blood Fury without Berserk and with some leadership. The Grim Raider is a cavalry commander with decent leadership, has a lance and a lizard with a barding. By the way, many of the commanders have magic leadership because troglodytes are magic beings. The Dark Prophet is a Holy One priest with some good leadership, by the way, unlike normal priests, and Inspirational One. The Blood Sister is a Blood One mage. Nothing else to say here. That's the only blood magic this nation gets. The Trickster is another assassin with Glamour as a tag and Glamour 1 magic. So there are 2 assassins here. The Shadow Weaver is the basic, the mainline mage with a magic staff, Astral 1, Death 1, and a 20% chance to get Fire, Air, Astral or Glamour magic, and Adept Researcher 2. The Shadow Witch is a quite expensive priestess, Death 1, Nature 2, Holy 2, and a 20% to get Fire, Air, Earth, Nature. She is sacred, she has a supply bonus and dark vision, and she wields a whip. She'll whip you into shape. And then we have the capital mages, the Faceless. They are creatures from Heroes of Might and Magic 6 and 7, something like a counterpart of the angels. They're actually quite cool. I could use some interesting tags. They're size 5 creatures with not a lot of hit points, some very minor natural protection, high magic resistance. They are definitely not combat monsters. They prefer to stay in the back. Astral 2, Death 1, Glamour 3, that's a powerful mage. Magic being need not eat, flying, stealthy. Iron vulnerability 2, Salt vulnerability 4, blind, they have no faces after all. Dark power 1 and Nightmare Aura. I don't think I have seen this ability on any vanilla creatures. If you know what creatures use it, please tell me, because that's pretty cool, isn't it? And the Dream Touch attack that deals false damage. And the slow to recruit capital only mage is a Faceless Puppeteer, costs a lot. Astral 2, Death 3, Glamour 3, Has Dread 5, also something not very usual. Nightmare Aura 7, and the rest are the same, but they also have a new attack. In addition to the Dream Touch, they have Enslave Mind, like the Aboleths. That's pretty cool. That's all the recruitables you can get. But we have a lot of summons actually. So let's load the showcase version and take a look at it. First, in Conjuration 1, you can cast Cold Dark Troglodytes. That's a Water 1 Death 1 spell. For 4 gems, you get 7+ Dark Troglodytes. This spell can only be cast in caves. They are very similar to normal Troglodytes, where they have Cold Resistance, Dark Power 1, and Ice Protection 2. That's natural protection, that's not armor, that's actually skin. So in cold provinces they can be very tanky. But on the other hand, you can only get water magic access in this nation via a hero, a multi-hero. We'll take a look at her later. Then in Conjuration 4 you can cast Summon Shadow Lurker. That's a Glimmer 2 Death 1 spell. For 3 gems you summon 1 Shadow Lurker. That's something of a darkness elemental. Has 3 weakness tentacles. Amphibian, Dread 5, Shock, Fire Resistance, Cold Resistance, Magic being needed Ethereal, Floating, Spirit Form, Spirit Side, Dark Power 2. They have high magic resistance, not a lot of protection, but they are ethereal. Quite a lot of hit points for a size 4 creature. And good skills. I think they are good summons, but you can only summon them 1 per turn. I mean 1 per cast. In Conjuration 5 you can cast Summon Shadow Watcher. That's a Glimmer 3 Death 2 spell. For 4 gems you get 1 Shadow Watcher. That's an improved version of the Shadow Lurker that has Stealthy and a Mind Blast, and now has 4 weakness tentacles instead of 3. In Construction 4 you can cast Construct Striders. That's an Astral 2 Death 1 spell. For 7 pearls you summon 3+ Striders. They are these constructs with Spore Amphibian, Flash, Pierce Resistance, Shock Susceptibility, Fire Resistance, Poison Resistance, Magic Being Inanimate, Need Not Eat, Mindless, Never Heal, Spirit Side, and Shadow Steel Fist attack that deals magic damage, and actually that's 2 attacks. They're size 5 creatures with 18 protection, high magic resistance, and 35 hit points, and decent, I mean, not decent, good skills. In Conjuration 5 you can also cast Summon Dark Hydra. That's a Death 1 Nature 3 spell. For 11 gems you summon 1 Dark Hydra. This spell can only be cast in a cave. The Dark Hydra has a great vampiric head that drains 10 HP. And you should keep in mind that the great head is the final head that you lose. So it always has this one. And it heals in addition to regeneration. It also has Dark Power 1. I think that's a pretty damn cool creature. Also in Conjuration 5 you can cast Summon Foul Hydra. That's a Nature 2 Fire 1 spell. For 11 gems you summon 1 Foul Hydra. This spell also can only be cast in caves. The Foul Hydra has acid heads. They do not actually deal acid damage, but they corrode armor. And the Great Head also deals corrosion. It has acid resistance and the acid shield ability. Also a very rare one. I think that's also pretty cool. In Conjuration 5 you can cast Summon Cave Wyverns. That's a Nature 2 Earth 1 spell. For 6 gems you summon 2 cave wyverns. They are just your normal wyverns with a corrosive bite. Also actually just has a follow-up corrosion effect that deals no acid damage. And a corrosive spit attack, just like... I don't remember what monster has it. The green lion? That actually deals acid damage. Has acid resistance and the siege bonus 15 due to corroding walls. Also in Conjuration 5, no, I'm lying to you. In Conjuration 4 you can cast Summon Darkness Elementals. As a Glamour 1 Death 1 spell, for 1 gem you summon 2 Darkness Elementals in combat. That's not a ritual summon. The Darkness Elemental has 2 Weakness Tentacles, Amphibian, Shock Resistant, Fire Resistant, Cold Resistant, Magic Being Needed, Ethereal, Floating, Spirit Form, Blind, Dark Power 5. So you see that the stats are quite poor, but they become much better in darkness. That's the entire gimmick. And that's all the summons. We also have some heroes. First, Ochtar, the Black Hand, who is another assassin who has 2 Shadow Steel Swords and even higher skills, and a retinue of 1d6 Shadow Slayers. Raylag has a Shadow Steel Sword, Shadow Steel Cuirass, Fire 3, Blood 3, Glamour 1, Fire Resistance, Dark Vision 100. We kind of already have this hero in Middle-Aged Sheog, and he is intentionally given the same stats for different equipment. After all, Ygg-Chall and Raylag are the same guys. Segref is a Astral 3 Death 3 mage with Adept Researcher 4 and Master Ritualist 1. Elia is a Earth 2, Death 2, Nature 3, Holy 3 Priestess with a whip. And the Medusa Sorceress. This is a multi-hero who has Water 2. That's the only water access you get to cast Cold Dark Troglodytes. Death 1, Glamour 2, and they are actually amphibious. Because they are an offshoot of the Naga race. And I will be making the Naga faction from Heroes of Might and Magic 6 too. So I have to tie it all together. And let's check out the pretenders. Shadow Mistress has a Demon Whip, Sergeant Dominion 1, Death 1, Farcaster for Death and Glamour, retinue of 1 Darkness Elemental, and new Magic Path cost 20. And Daughter of Malassa, increased Death and Magic scale limit with a Plague Breath attack, Death 1 Glamour 1, Fear, Fire Resistant, Poison Resistant, Needed It, Flying, Spirit Sight, Nightmare, Aura 10, Inept Smith, Void Sanity 20, Inept Researcher. Avatar of the Void, Touch of Madness, 3 Weakness Tentacles, increased Magic scale limit, Astral 2 Glamour 1, Amphibian, Dread 10, Blunt Resistant, Cold Resistant, Poison Resistant, Magic Being, Need Not Eat, Floating, Blind, Nightmare, Aura 10, Inept Smith, Void Sanity, Inept Researcher, Magic Power 1. Also base Magic Resistance 20. The Flame Dragon. Fire 2, just a normal dragon that cannot shapeshift and has a hit aura. Black Dragon King. That's not just a black dragon, that's a king. Because I had to use some creatures as pretenders from some lame ass Might and Magic gacha game that is called Era of Chaos. I never heard about it before I started making all these mods. And even though there are 4 dragons here, I still had to cut out like 4 more. I'll assign them to other nations probably later. So the Black Dragon King has a fire attack, fire 1, death 1, fear 10, and dark power 1. The Shadow Dragon has a dragon frost attack, death 2, oh, sorry about that, and dark power 2. And I think, no, that's not it. We also have the Immortal Spirit as a troglodyte Ghost King variant, as a Ghost Rending Claw, Earth 1, Death 1, increased death scale limit, Amphibian, Fear, Cold resistant, Poison resistant, Undead, need not eat, Immortality. The Ghost King doesn't have this one. Chill Aura, Ethereal, Floating, Stealthy, Vulnerability to Salt, Spirit Form, and Blind. So that's it, I think. So I actually like this nation a lot. I am content with the result. I think it's pretty cool, but it was a bit of a chore to make, to be honest, because of all the hydras. You know, you have to make a unit profile for every stage of its destruction, I guess. Head loss. Next up, we have the Orc Nation from Heroes of Might and Magic 5 and I think 7. That's going to be a big one. The Sanctuary. And then the Factory Nation. So there are only 3 nations left. So thank you for watching. I will see you next time.